everyone, Helen here. How are you doing? I hope you're doing all right, and thanks for coming to spend a bit of time with me today. And it is usually my little place where I'm sharing my crafty projects with you, and lots of other things that I do as well. I'm not going to do that today. Well, I'll give you a bit of an update next week, and including my 100-day project that I'm busy doing, trying to make 100 different leaves on 100 consecutive days. And I just wanted to mention it because some of you have given me some lovely suggestions for leaves as well, so I'm very happy to have them. As I think I said last week, I haven't got the days planned out. I'm just coming to each day and thinking, right, what kind of leaf shall I make today? And so any suggestions are gratefully received, because I may well, be in need of some suggestions as the days go by. So thank you. Just wanted to say thank you for that. So I think you can probably tell, though, from the start of today's podcast that I've been in a bit more of a philosophical mood. And so I thought I'd share some of my thoughts with you today. But we're also going to pop into the kitchen later and make something. And I think probably the thing that's really sparked these thoughts off is just because of feeling rather unsettled at the moment. And I'm sure that there's so many other people feeling the same way about all the horrible stuff that's going on in the news at the moment. And I'm not going to talk about that because this is just not the place for it. But I think that really set me to thinking about how much I have got to be grateful for. And I think, I'll be out on my daily walk and just feeling so grateful that I can walk along there, and feel safe and have the luxury of time to pause and appreciate things. I really do have so much to be grateful for. And it was lovely the other morning. I just stood still and listened to the birdsong. I was out quite early, actually, not long after the sun had risen, so there was still a bit of dawn chorus. And so just listen to these birds. It was so lovely. That was just so lovely. And it's so easy just to take all these little things for granted, isn't it? So partly sparked off by my unsettled feelings, and partly by watching a podcast a few days ago, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a minute. I just started thinking about how much I have got to be grateful for. And I'm just going to give you a little interlude now and play you a new piano piece I've been learning recently. And I'm going to accompany it with some pictures that I took where I was out on a walk and just appreciating how beautiful the frost was looking on the tops of seed heads, dried up seed heads and things. And it was a lovely morning, and I was out for quite a long time, feeling really appreciative of all those things that you could so easily take for granted. was watching a podcast the other day, which is one of my favourite ones, it's one of my favourite ones that's not about knitting or crochet or woolly things like that, but it's called The Unexpected Gypsy. And it's a lovely lady called Wendy. She has thousands of followers. It's a very big YouTube channel. Anyway, she's a professional artist, but as well as sharing her paintings and her painting process, and it's kind of a bit of a vlog as well of her life. She does journaling, and she has an art journal and all sorts of things. She's very interesting and lovely lady. And in this particular podcast, she was chatting about gratitude, and she was creating some gratitude pages in one of her journals, but she mentioned a website called positivepsychology.com, and this immediately attracted my attention, and of course I went straight away to have a look on there, because she was saying that a lot of research has been done into the topic of gratitude and happiness and things. So I always like to have a little bit of a look at what research has been done. And so while I tell you a little bit more about the research findings, which I hope you'll find interesting, I'm just going to share a bit of video of me starting to create some gratitude pages in my bullet journal. And but I also just want to say that you can express gratitude, you can feel gratitude without having a bullet journal, without writing anything down. But this is just my way. This is my preferred way of doing it. So first of all, a definition of gratitude. You can find various definitions, but basically it's an appreciation of receiving something either tangible or intangible. So it's just, and it actually, it's more than just acknowledging something. It's actually, it's a stage further than that. It's saying, yes, I can see you, hear you, feel you, but I also thank you for it. You won't be surprised to know that gratitude and happiness are strongly connected, and you can express gratitude. Sort of, there's three main strands of that. You express gratitude for the past, for your childhood memories maybe, of the present. Be grateful for what you've got at the moment, and you can also express gratitude for what is to come. And I think all of the scientific studies that have been done have shown that happiness positively affects your life expectancy. And one of the really important ways to bring more happiness into our lives is through gratitude. And one group of researchers got some people together to write, I think for about 10 weeks, they were told to either write about what they were grateful for each day. So one group of people were doing that. And then another group of people had to record each day what had really irritated them or annoyed them. And, it isn't at all surprising to learn that the ones who were writing about things they were grateful for were more hopeful about the future. They had fewer medical appointments. They were doing more exercise. And, just overall, they were much more positive. Another researcher got people to go on what he called savouring walks, daily. And this again showed that those people who went on a savouring walk, which was to go and just appreciate all the things around you that you might otherwise take for granted, and that if you actually take time to notice those things, that you actually feel a lot happier. So the people in that particular research project, had felt the positive benefits. And yeah, and so basically gratitude helps us to be less negative overall. And and then I came across a list of 7 things, 7 benefits of showing gratitude, which are that you have an enhanced well-being, that it can result in deeper relationships, that you have improved optimism, that it increases your happiness, as we've already mentioned. It can give you stronger self-control. You can have better physical and mental health, and overall just a better quality of life. So one of the ways that Wendy of the Unexpected Gypsy podcast suggested as a way of expressing gratitude was to print out a few photos to use as writing prompts. So I decided to do this. I didn't spend a lot of time choosing photos. I just, did it. Right, I'm going to have that one, that one, that one. I didn't put a lot of thought into choosing, which was quite interesting just to see that, in fact, so many of the photos that I chose were containing family members. That's not surprising, really, is it? Or else me in happy places or doing things that brought me joy. I really enjoyed spending that time writing about how grateful I am for so many things and totally focusing on just positive experiences. Now, of course, no one has a life that's free from sad or unpleasant or distressing events, but by focusing on the positives, it can stop our minds from descending into a kind of negative and downward spiral. Things happen that are outside our control, or we make mistakes, but all we can do is to try to move on and concentrate on all those things, however small, that we have to be grateful for. So I had a really, really happy time creating those pages in my journal, and I'll definitely return to those pages. I'll return and reread them, because just reading them, just looking at the photos and just reading what I've written makes me feel really contented inside, and to know that I have all these things that, have been a very positive part of my life. Using photos is a great way of, prompting what you can write. And it was when I was still teaching full time, it was one of the things that I love to do with children, and children really found this a very easy way into writing, is if you just give them a picture of something or a photo, and especially if it's something really meaningful to them, they can write so much more than if you just give them a blank piece of paper. And that works for us too. Yeah, so okay then. So I think that's enough said about gratitude at the moment, and we're going to go off into the kitchen to make some really, really delicious biscuits. And these are definitely biscuits and not cookies, because, well, at least in my mind, a cookie is has a fairly soft consistency, whereas a biscuit is definitely something that's should be hard and crunchy. And this is a recipe that was given to me by my lovely sister-in-law. Hello, Lorna. And it's one of her favourite recipes. And so we now have the recipe too. I don't know where she got it from. I'm not sure whose recipe it is. Is it a Mary Berry one? I'm not sure. Anyway, wherever it came from, it is a really excellent recipe. And of course, so I'm going to make some stem ginger nuts, they're called. I tried to find out why they're called ginger nuts, and I didn't find anything conclusive on that. I think it might either be that sometimes you put nutmeg in them, so the nut might come from that, or it might be just that they're really, really hard, because they are intended to be really hard. And and so they're hard as a nut. I don't really know. But these particular biscuits from this recipe should end up really, really nice and crunchy, and they're absolutely perfect for dunking in tea or coffee if you like to do that, because it does soften them a bit, and oh, they're just delicious. But just it's the added bit of little chunks of stem ginger that just make them really, really top biscuits. So come on into the kitchen with me and let's make these stem ginger nuts. Okay, well, it is time for me to go now, and I will be back again in a week's time. So until then, take care of yourself and maybe spend a little bit of time just thinking of all the things that you have to be grateful for. I'm sure that you'll feel the benefit of just a bit of time, just some quiet reflection, just thinking, or even recording it in a notebook or journal. And yes, so keep busy. I will see you again soon. Okay, bye.